You want to give a round of applause to Michael getting his job today? Here, I was worried about Michael getting here, coming up from Xenia, and I was one of the people that doesn't have power at my house, and we have a generator to keep some of the things running, but we're out, and a couple of our furnaces down, and I had to shave in the dark, but I don't think I shave any better in the light, to tell you the truth. You heard those winds and you saw that ice. It was a tough night, and for some people it's going to be a tough day without power. And the thing you think about, beyond the fact that you don't have power, is you think about those people who climb those poles and get those big lifts that they go in, and the wind is blowing at 40 miles an hour, and they're up there fixing this stuff. It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? The work that they do, and they're really professionals. They're just unbelievable people. Now, my dad, Michael, was a mailman, and so neither rain nor sleet nor dark of night stopped my dad, but he got to walk on the ground. These folks get to do their job in the air, so I hope we'll all reflect on the fact that they're just great folks trying to make sure that if we can get our power back on, things can return to normal. I'm glad we prepared yesterday for this. I really want to salute the people that have been involved, from Jerry Ray and Colonel Tom Charles. By the way, one thing we did do was work with the utility companies to make sure that when these crews were heading into Ohio, they didn't get stopped at the way stations. Now, all the way stations are shut down today, but the ability to move people into this state without some bureaucratic technical difficulty, I think was very much appreciated by the utilities, and those are the kind of things you have to do. You can't get tangled up in bureaucracy when you have a crisis in your state. So hopefully we'll get the power back on, and so will the 400,000 other people, and it'll be cold tomorrow, but we can take cold, we just can't take all this ice. Anyway, I'm excited to announce Michael Colbert. Michael has been our interim director of Jobs and Family Services since the day I was inaugurated. In fact, he took the oath right there in the Senate chamber. Michael is a CFO, and I've had an opportunity to work with chief financial officers over the last 10 years. It is a job that allows people to see every nook and cranny of what goes on within an organization. And in that job, there's an exactness and a firmness that is required to be a good CFO. Some CFOs are able to make the transition to CEO, some are not. Michael now is going to go from CFO and take all the knowledge of the organization into CEO, and he's being accused by his fellow folks of going soft now that he's the CEO. He has a very interesting background. He has a father who's really inspired him, and obviously a mom who does also, but he carries himself the way his father modeled himself. And he has a strong family, and went to Central State and started off working at Chase, which was, I remember when it was, he and I both remember when it was Bank One, and was there for a while, and then wanted to go to the comptroller of the General so he could actually begin to audit banks. Maybe if you'd have been there, we wouldn't have had the crisis, Michael. But then ended up in the auditor's office and gave up one of his dreams so he could be with his father after his father had a health issue. And served under a number of administrators over at the auditor's office, and then, of course, recently, 3 years ago, over to Jobs and Family Services. The reason why we've elevated him is really 2 or 3 different reasons. Michael has a bearing in the way he carries himself that is very special. I think you all know that. He's come to cabinet meetings and he's been very, very well prepared. And He impressed me at all these cabinet meetings. The two that we've had that are extended, we have long cabinet meetings. And the last cabinet meeting, he was so prepared to deal with some of the big issues of a department that is so important for our communities, and just did an outstanding job. And then I had an opportunity to sit down with Michael and spend some more time with him. And the one thing I think we all know inside this entire government, and also particularly in Jobs and Family Service, we need change agents. I mean, some of you have worked there a long time. You probably have gotten frustrated by why can't we do it this way or that way. Michael and I originally talked about the need to be able to rationalize and coordinate our IT systems, which have floundered for a long time. Nobody better than a CFO to become CEO and to work with a team of people, including the folks at Administrative Services, to make sure that we can make sure those computers work. Because they're not just spitting out numbers and data. They spit out information that has to do with human beings and whether we're managing the difficulties that human beings have. And at the same time, we talked about the need to reform in the area of job training. It was a major campaign issue for me, and Michael and I will work within the laws that we currently have, and also to seek flexibility so that we can help more people to be trained and retrained in their current jobs rather than to find themselves unemployed before we can go to their assistance. When I was at Fox News, I remember there's a story of the children up in the northern part of the state, foster care children that were found in cages. You might remember that story. I mean, it is just so important that we have advocates that are inside this department who can make sure that not just that we're efficient, but remembering the importance of flesh and blood as we carry out our responsibilities. Michael has committed, and his job is to make sure that we can squeeze every dollar out. And in all of these organizations, today we have with us, and why don't you all come on up here. We've got John Mark with Developmental Disabilities. We've got Bonnie, who's running Aging. We've got Tracy, who's running Mental Health, and of course our head of Medicaid, Greg Moody, and also Orman Hall is here, and Dr. Winslow is here, our Director of Department of Health. And they're all going to form a team to work together. And they will support Michael, Michael will support them, they will all work together and try to accomplish, and I have to tell you, these are difficult times. We've got to make sure that turf is at a minimum, that ego is at a minimum, and that we have great efficiency. And this is an enormous responsibility for Michael to take this job on, and I very much appreciate he's going to take that experience he has and work closely with us and our Director of Policy to make sure that we can produce the best Jobs and Family Services operation, not just what we've had in Ohio, but one of the great shining stars in the country. So without further ado, let's hear from Michael Colbert.
Thank you, Governor. I'm honored to be named, and I'm happy to serve. Good morning. Before we get started, I wanted to give you a brief overview of what JFS really is. What is the Department of Job and Family Services, and what do we do? As you know, the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services is a large state agency, providing many services to Ohio's most vulnerable population. We have an annual budget of $21.6 billion and nearly 3,700 employees. We are responsible for developing and supervising the state's public assistance, workforce development, unemployment compensation, child and adult protective services, adoption, child care, child support, and we are also the state administrative agent for Medicaid. The Great Recession has presented the department with many challenges, budget constraints and rising caseload, and we are currently serving more than 300,000 Ohioans receiving unemployment compensation, more than 240,000 Ohioans receiving cash assistance, and more than 1.8 million Ohioans receiving food assistance. Additionally, we have 200,000 children in publicly funded child care. While these increases were difficult to manage, we found ways to adjust and continuing to meet our customer needs. We extended our call center hours. We trained staff at community centers to help people with online applications. And we gave claimants the option for automatic callback versus waiting on hold. Through tough times and with adjustments, we were successful in delivering services. In fact, the department was recently named by the Department of Labor top performing large state for quickly and accurately dispersing unemployment benefits. We've taken measures to help accommodate caseload increases for many of our other programs. We made administrative improvements to our cash and food assistance programs, and we've launched an online benefit application so people can apply for services without having to go to a county agency. What we've learned from these experiences is that challenges bring opportunity. The opportunity to do things differently and the opportunity to do things better. At JFS, we're open to thinking outside of the box, and as we prepare for this upcoming budget, we must explore new ways of doing business which will benefit our bottom line and improve our services to our customers. I look forward to focusing on the key priorities in line with the governor's themes. Training workers in skills that Ohio employers need. This is going to involve some level of change to our current system along the lines of job training and employer incentive versus just training only. Promoting self-sufficiency while ensuring the health and safety of Ohioans' vulnerable citizens and eliminating the silos and bureaus that are bogging down the system. Additionally, we are looking for new ways of doing business to operate more efficiently and effectively for our crucial Ohioans. By focusing on these priorities, I believe we will help more Ohioans find jobs, and additionally, we will operate in a better way. I look forward to being a part of this new system. I thank the governor for giving me the opportunity to serve in the lead. I want to thank all of you for being here today. I want to thank my wife, my family, my 2 daughters. They're not here.
Have them stand anyway.
I'd also like to thank my mom and dad for my compassion and my leadership. And finally, I'd like to thank the employees of the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, our governmental partners and our community organizers, and our organizations that work hard every single day to deliver system. Thank you.